Oh, she is a bigot, because you look at what's happening to the inner cities. You look at what's happening to African Americans and Hispanics in this country, where she talks all the time.
How is she bigoted? Bigoted is,
because she's selling them down the tubes, because she's not doing anything for those communities. She talks a good game, but she doesn't do anything.
She has hatred or
her policies are bigoted. Her policies are bigoted because she knows they're not going to work.
But you're saying she is personally bigoted?
Oh, she is. Of course she is. Her policies, she's totally bigoted. There's no question about that.
That was Donald Trump doubling down on calling Hillary Clinton a bigot. And joining me now to react to the Trump montage we played before the break and the accusations against Hillary Clinton that he is making are Emmanuel Cleaver, congressman from Missouri, and Pastor Mark Burns, co-founder and CEO of the Now television network. Thank you both for being here. And Congressman, I'm going to start with you, sir. You know the Clintons. You've known them for quite some time. What do you make of it when Donald Trump calls Hillary Clinton a bigot?
I think it's transference. It is an attempt to use, it's an old political trick, and that is the thing that you feel vulnerable on, you try to appropriate it to the opponent. It rarely works, and it doesn't work here, and it's rather insulting because essentially what Mr. Trump is saying is about 93% of African Americans in this country are stupid, and so they don't know those who would carry forth their best interests, and so he wants them to know that they're stupid and they need to be supporting him. And I just think it's tragic. It would be comical if it didn't deal with human beings.
And the polling that you're referring to, Pastor Burns, shows that Hillary Clinton enjoys the support of 91% of African Americans. Donald Trump, at least in this one poll, is at 1%. In the NBC poll, there are various polls that put him anywhere from 1 to 3 to 4%. So how do you respond to that? I mean, the vast majority of African Americans have made the decision that they prefer Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump. So Donald Trump calling her a bigot, is that also casting an aspersion on the people, the black people supporting her?
Well, you know, I just want to say, in reference to name calling, you know, my job is a pastor. I'm not a politician, and I'm not running for any office. And as a pastor, you know, I wouldn't call no one any names. That's that's fair. From who I am. But in reference to the African American and Donald Trump support, yes, it is low, but it is turning around. I mean, because obviously what Donald Trump is doing, and I'm so blessed to be right into the center of the outreach towards African Americans, is completely legit. Donald Trump truly has a heart for the African American community, but more so the American community. I really believe the Democratic Party, Joy, has really done a great job in dividing us and not really uniting us. And right now, that's why we are, as African Americans, weak and not where we need to be as a people.
Well, let me just take one piece of that, and I definitely want to keep the congressman in this as well. You said Donald Trump has a heart for African Americans. You saw that montage of Donald Trump's history that does include settling a lawsuit with the federal government for housing discrimination, not letting people who look like you and me and Congressman Cleaver move into his buildings here in New York. The comments that he made about the Central Park five young black and Hispanic men who were wrongly convicted of a crime. He wanted them executed, and even after they were exonerated by DNA, he came out and blasted the idea that the city gave the settlement to them. The birtherism, calling Barack Obama out and essentially demanding to see his papers, which was unprecedented for a presidential candidate. Donald Trump's own personal history speaks of bigotry. How can you say he has a heart for the black community?
Well, you know, I know Donald Trump today. I can't answer to whatever took place 30 years ago. I can only speak to the Donald Trump that I've gotten to know. And the Donald Trump that I know has a heart for African Americans. Donald Trump has countless deeds that he's done for African Americans. Can you give us an example? You know, there's a prime example. A friend of mine, Pastor Paula White, and I'm not going to release the individual's name, but just to give you a prime example, there was a young lady who just literally came into the country who was in the ministry. She was a prophetess, and she came with Paula White to meet Donald Trump. It was an unscheduled event, but long story short, the young lady began to tell Mr. Trump her story and the struggles that she's had. Mr. Trump, without a blink of an eye, she's an African-American, wrote out a check for $50,000, gave it to the woman's ministry to help start and launch the ministry. Another prime example of...
Well, we don't have tons of time to give examples, but
there are lots of them.
Does that, writing a check to someone's ministry, sounds like a very nice thing to do, Congressman Cleaver, but does that negate the past that Donald Trump brings with him into this election?
Look, this is almost ineffable, but the reality is this. I took a shower this morning, and when I got into the tub at the hotel here in Louisville, I didn't wonder whether or not the water was going to be wet. And the reason is that it was wet yesterday. And I base decisions, my decisions today on yesterday. That's what all human beings do. And Mr. Trump yesterday, and this is not 30 years ago, Reverend, he has made some awful statements about Latinos. And I'm not a very smart person, but here's what I do believe, that there's no such thing as partial prejudice, partial bigotry. If you are, you can't be partially dead, you can't be partially pregnant, and you can't be partially bigoted. If you attack a group of people, Latinos, or any other group, you're very, very likely feel the same way about all minorities. And what Mr. Trump has done is just almost unconscionable in his past. These are public, we have public records. We have him on tape saying these awful things. I mean, and then he's continuing to insult people. I have a very good relationship with the blacks. And then in the middle of a speech, he points out and says, look at my African-American over there. Look, we're human beings, we're not puppies.
Sure. And
I don't think that Mr. Trump's money, if he wrote $50,000 checks and so forth, is anything that's going to change what he is doing very publicly.
Sure. And how do you respond to that? Because, I mean, he is continuing to say things, several of which were just quoted by Congressman Cleaver.
I really think hate begets hate. Racism really goes both ways. I really think if we are going to discuss and hold in account what Donald Trump have or may have.
But that's what we're here to do. So I think let's stick with that. Can you respond to the things he's saying now?
The point that I'm making is, if we're going to do that, then I think we should be holding Hillary Clinton in the same account.
I get the turn, but I want you to answer directly to the things that Donald Trump has said. Let me finish
my statement, because I'm answering it. This is how I'm answering it, okay? I think it's so important that we need to hold Hillary Clinton also in account for what she's done and what she said, super predators. Bill Clinton said President Obama a couple of years ago would be pouring my coffee.
Sir, okay, hold on. Let me stop you for one moment. Hillary Clinton, hold on. Hillary Clinton apologized for the comment that she made.
Because she's
not
a
talking about
professional
all
politician,
African-Americans.
and that's what they do.
No, hold on a second.
They say one thing and mean another.
Sir, you haven't let me finish my statement. You haven't let me finish. Will Donald Trump apologize if you now you're willing to go into the past and talk about things people said in the past? That's fine. That was in the 90s. During the time that Hillary Clinton was making those statements about the crime bill, which, by the way, half the Congressional Black Caucus supported, during that exact time, Donald Trump was still continuing not only to discriminate in terms of housing discrimination, if we're going to talk about the same contemporary time period, but even going back before that, the Nixon administration accused him of housing discrimination. Should he then apologize? Should he take the same step? He's a politician now. Should he apologize for the housing discrimination, for the things he said, up to the things he said even during this campaign about Judge Curiel, about my African American? Do you think he should apologize?
I really think what's perplexing, Joy, is right now we are in a society where we're so racially divided more than ever that we're speaking more and more about the different ethnic groups and not really having the leaders to speak a language that brings us together. In my opinion,
is Donald Trump giving a language that brings us together?
What Donald Trump is speaking to issues that are perplexing all races and not just the African American race.
But you don't think he should apologize for the things he's done and
said? What I'm talking about is, I believe right now we need our leaders speaking a language that is bringing us together as Americans and not keeping us focused just as the Black Americans or the Hispanic Americans or the Asian Americans. I really think right now we need our leaders, Hillary Clinton and continuously Donald Trump, to continuously stop focusing on those colors and issues that are perplexing just to certain ethnic groups and begin to deal with issues that are dealing with all Americans.
But okay, Congressman Cleaver, your response.
This great country we are in.
Congressman Cleaver.
Reverend, the problem is that you're saying, at least what I'm hearing, is that they shouldn't even deal with the issue of race. And I will remind you
that it was
Mr. Trump. Well, anyway, let me remind you, it was Mr. Trump who brought this issue up by calling Secretary Clinton a bigot. That's how it got started. That's why you and I are talking about it now. With his history, he called her a bigot on national television, and then doubled down on CNN and did it again and again. And I think that look, if Hillary Clinton said the things that Donald Trump said, I wouldn't support her. I've known her for over 30 years. I've been in her home. There's no way I would support her. I would be somewhere denouncing her. And I'm not going to let them change who I am. I mean, things have gotten so bad. And you did it earlier. You said, and the Democrat Party. That's bad English. I mean, it's not correct grammar, but people do that just to be insulting. And look, this is a horrible moment in American politics when a man goes on television. Even back in the day, they didn't.
Hold on. We're going to take a break because we're going to continue this conversation. We do have to take a break, but we're going to hopefully hold you guys over. We're going to continue this conversation when we come back. Stay with us. Back with me are Representative Emanuel Cleaver of Missouri and Pastor Mark Burns, co-founder and CEO of the Now television network. I want to just give you guys one more opportunity. Thank you so much for staying over. And Pastor Burns, you are, close to the campaign.
Sure.
And you can talk to the candidate. Would you advise Donald Trump to get off of this subject of race? Because bringing it back up again, although it did bring you here and it got me the chance to talk to you, it has reopened and reopened the wounds that have to do also with his own past. Would you advise him to steer away from this subject? Or if you think he should stay on it, how should he be talking about race?
Well, right now, the key word, as I've shared with Mr. Trump, is the key word is compassion, a reference to the African-American community. The African-American community, I believe, based off of facts, has weakened, or we've been worsened off under the last 8 years of a Democratic Party rule.
How so?
Welfare. There are more African Americans on welfare. I think it's up 21% from when President Obama became president to now.
No, it actually isn't, because during the Great Recession, you had increases in all Americans who were using things like food stamps, but that was because of the recession. That's all actually gone down.
Well, I think the fact of the matter is, when the net worth of African Americans is less than $5,000, the net worth of a Hispanic family is $8,000. The net worth of a white family in America is $93,000, so forth. The net worth of Asian American family is right at $116,000. I think the fact that we financially, economically, under the Democratic Party, we are at the very bottom of the totem pole. We have to have leadership that's going to really empower African Americans, and not just African Americans, because poverty knows no color. Poverty doesn't care what race you are. And right now, Donald Trump has an economic plan that's going to empower the 25% of franchise business owners, which are African Americans, and empower the small businesses.
Right. Well, we haven't heard that plan yet. And I will point out that African Americans have been in that economic condition for hundreds of years. It isn't just that of the last 8 years.
And we have been voting for Democrats for the last 50 years.
But in fairness, let's go to you, Congressman Cleaver, for the last word on this, because there does need to be clearly an economic intervention for African Americans. That is actually a valid point, that our communities do need to catch up in terms of economics. And it isn't just about the last 8 years, it's in general. So how do you respond to what you just heard from Pastor Burns?
Well, let's deal with a couple of things, and I'll do it quickly. First of all, remember, anything that President Barack Obama proposed, the Republican Congress opposed. Everything. I don't care what it was. He could say, let's vote today as Saturday. And they said, no, it looks like Saturday, but it's not. The other thing that I think that is important is, over the years, there have been programs proposed, and some of them have failed, And that's what you have to do in the political system, because we have no ultimate knowledge. We can do the best thing we can to get programs in place and efforts by the government in place to make corrections in what has transpired in this country since 1619. It's a difficult job, but to try to say that somehow the Democratic Party is somehow celebrating the condition of African Americans is just wrong. And let us remember, let no corrupting word fall from your lips. So says the Apostle Paul to the Ephesians.
Yeah, well, you know, this is why I loved having this panel together, because we have two, not one, but two pastors on with us today. Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver, we're going to let you go because I know you have to catch a flight, and Pastor Mark Burns. Thank you both. This is a great discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy.
Bless you, Reverend.
Thank
Bless
you
you,
both.
Pastor.
All right, and after the break,